This week on Previews World Weekly, we discuss the biggest revelations out of DC Fandome, what you would give a non-comic book reader to bring them over to the dark side, and we discuss food mascots in a judgment-free zone. That's what it's all about. It's all happening right now on Previews World Weekly.
What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I am your other host, Ashton Greenwood, a.k.a. the Duchess of Free Comic Book Day, and we are in the 7th week of Free Comic Book Summer, in case you're counting.
Yeah, there you go. It was in the, and I just want you to reiterate here, Ashton, that this is a judgment-free zone for food mascots.
It is a judgment-free zone for food mascots. I would very much like for it to be, because I have received a lot of judgment for you and Johnny for this poll I dare conduct.
Okay. All right. I was about to say, someone forgot to tell me because the judgment is a coming.
Yo, I felt it.
But not the way you think, not just yet. I actually want you to be Judge, Judy, and Executioner here for us. DC Fandome happened this past weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. A lot of people have been reacting to things, Ashton. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not going to give my reaction, maybe not off the bat anyway, but I want your reaction to a couple of things. So I'm going to throw it out there to you, Ashton. I hope you've watched all the trailers. Have you?
I have. I'm finally caught up.
Okay, so then let's start with the big one, right? The Batman. Yay or nay on Robert Pattinson?
Oh, yay. Big yay.
Yeah? Okay.
I was very excited about it. I actually didn't watch that trailer until earlier today, but I was very hyped about it, very excited. I think it's a good trailer. I think we've gotten into this weird area of like trailers that say too much about the movie. So I think this does a good job of like teasing it without giving too much away. Like, I'm very interested in what the birthday cards are about.
Yeah,
and that's like weird and creepy. So I'm into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I could tell you, I think the birthday cards are about Calendar Man, but that's a whole nother thing we won't get into just yet. But I'm with you on that. Like, I actually liked that it kept kind of the details at bay on this one.
Absolutely. I actually would go so far as to say I think I was more impressed, excited. I'm anticipating this one more than Wonder Woman, and the Wonder Woman trailer was great. Don't get me wrong, but this was more exciting to me. Like this kind of took the cake.
No, I feel that. Like, I mean, me personally, I'm like, it doesn't have to be either or. I mean, I'm going to see both of them. I'm actually excited for both, but I think because it's Batman, it kind of adds a little bit more like a whoa, hey to it, you know?
Yeah.
So actually, speaking of the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer, what did you think of the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer?
I liked it. I have seen Wonder Woman one time. And it was right when it came out, so I have admittedly long since forgotten a lot of the plot. So I mean, it seems generally exciting. I'm excited for Kristen Wiig. I think she's going to be awesome. I'm excited to see her in a more like serious kind of role because she does a lot of comedy. So I'm interested to see how this pans out. She looks awesome as Cheetah. I
keep seeing Kristen Wiig movies where she's doing drama. Like, it keeps popping up on like my queue for Netflix or Hulu or HBO Max, any number of them. But I keep seeing them, so I kind of feel like she's been revving up for this particular role for a while. I'm curious too how this is going to pan out. I'm a little on edge about how they're going to do this cheetah thing.
On edge?
I'm a little concerned about how they're going to pull this cheetah thing off, but. You know what? In Patty Jenkins, we trust. Like, she has said all the right things going into the first Wonder Woman movie. She said all the right things going into the second Wonder Woman movie. So, and I'm hoping she's got a bigger budget and some more toys to play with, which it seems like she does. So, I'm excited to see what her vision is. You know, I'm always a fan of the creator and their visions.
Right.
What about the Suicide Squad? Did you see the video game trailer and the little movie featurette they did?
I did not see the video game trailer.
Okay.
I did see the featurette. You know what? I have to admit, like, I lost a lot of faith in this after the first one. And like the first one was not even that I lost faith in the second one. Like, I didn't even get a chance to get that far. Like, the first one was so bad. And I am so unclear on what the plot was of the first one. that like anything after it, I'm like kind of just like meh about it. Like the featurette looked cool, and I think if anybody's gonna like resurrect it, it's gonna be James Gunn. I'm a little over Harley Quinn at the moment. Birds of Prey kind of would like really turned me off to that. So
yeah. I keep seeing people online trying to like low key defend Birds of Prey and like the interpretation. Someone was like falling out over themselves over Birds of Prey's interpretation of Gotham City, and I'm like, it didn't look like Gotham's. It didn't look like any city. Like it just looked like regular. Like it looked like random city USA. Like there was no defining characteristics about it. Like what are you talking about? Yeah, not a fan of Birds of Prey. I'm curious to see what James Gunn does with it. Again, I'm all about the creators, who's behind the camera, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm all about that. Last but not least, Ashton, the Justice League Zack Snyder cut.
Oh, this is another one. If you guys watched Game Night yesterday, I had apparently a very scathing opinion of Justice League and Batfleck, which I didn't realize was as controversial as it turned out to be.
I mean, the tides changed on Batfleck a little bit. Like people went into Batman versus Superman hating him, and then they saw Batman versus Superman and they liked him. And I think, as one of the viewers pointed out yesterday on Game Night, the problems with Justice League go beyond Ben Affleck. So
absolutely.
I can't really blame him for, look, the situation here is like he came back after months of being done with shooting and had to reshoot an entire movie basically. And I can't blame him for being kind of like meh, whatever about the whole thing at that point, But what is your take on this? Jason Momoa shirtless and all.
I'm very impressed with that. I mean, in the 2.5 minutes or however long this trailer is, I'm far more excited about whatever this is, whatever length it might be. It could be just this 2.5 minutes, and I would be more excited about that than I was of the totality of Justice League. Again, I couldn't tell you what the plot is of Justice League.
I can tell you what the plot is for Justice League. It's called Avengers 2012. That's what it is. Joss Whedon just kind of like did a copy and paste version and just cashed that check. So anyway, thank you for all the hot takes, Ashton. I appreciate it. I'm always curious, actually, what we're going to get into this later, but what new people who aren't necessarily fully immersed in the genre of superheroes think of like some of these things. So I think that's always a good perspective. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later in the show. I got one thing that I will hot take on 100%, although I kind of hot taked a little bit on a little bit on some of the Justice League DC stuff. Johnny, can you pull up the Xbox Wonder Woman? Yeah, look at how
fuzzy one.
This is the ugliest. Like the ugliest goddamn thing I've ever seen. Like, I guess it came out like I think like there was some speculation about how DC Fandom was supposed to be 3 days, and I think this kind of came out one of the last 2 days that the DC and Xbox were teaming up for this. But those are just hideous. Like, I think of Xbox like, this is the first time you've seen these, right? Yeah, I'm not a fan at all. Like, I just. Ew.
Like the fuzzy one, like the cheetah print one, is extremely oof.
Yeah.
Like, that's rough. I could maybe be convinced of the gold one. And the rainbowy controller that goes with the lasso one is cool, but the lasso thing on top is odd.
It looks like a birthday cake, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like, that's the weird thing about all these. They all look like really awful birthday cakes. Like my birthday is ruined. Thank you very much, Xbox and DC. Anyway, all right, let's talk about some new releases. I was going to talk about catalog, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's kick it over to what's at comic shops this week. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna say this now. There is a new catalog in the in comic shops today. It is the September previews, and check it out. On the cover is actually probably a team up that is so obvious that it hurts. Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons. Like, what's not to love about that? Like, I mean, those two things kind of go hand in hand together now at this point in time. On the reverse side, we also have a new book from Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw, who are the team of Thanos Wins, right? Which was like a very popular book here in the over at the PREVIEWSworld offices, I'll call it. And it's a book called Crossover, and I'm actually curious about this because I haven't seen all the details, and they've been kind of hush about, like, what the book is actually about, but it looks like it might have something to do with comics. So I'm here for something a little metatextual. Why the heck not? Also, there's a Wolverine black and white book, black, white, and blood book coming out this week. I'm sorry, inside the previews catalog this month. And I think that's it. I'll let you guys figure out the rest for yourself. Like Lock and Key, Sandman, a lot of cool stuff dropping inside previews catalog. And as always, it's September for the month of November.
Yeah.
So you're pre-ordering now so that you can get these things in November. And that's in comic shops today. So Ashton, speaking of things that we're looking forward to, your wait is a little shorter. You got some things that you're looking forward to this week that's dropping in comic shops. What you got?
I'm picking Jughead.
Okay.
Just like in general.
Okay. As a life choice.
As a life choice, yeah, 100%. As a lifestyle Jughead Jones.
Okay, I'm with it.
So there's 2 super cool figures coming out. I'm not picking a comic book this week because these are so cool I couldn't overlook them. And actually, shout out to Johnny for pointing it out to me in the first place.
There you go.
This super cool statue from Icon Heroes. It's based on the issue #2 cover of Jughead the Hunger, which is the first time he kind of turns into his werewolf persona. It's 10.5 inches tall, which is enormous.
Yeah, that's actually that's pretty intense.
That's a big commitment of space. That thing's nearly a foot tall. That's a lot.
Huh.
Each one is hand painted, individually numbered, and comes with a certificate of authenticity. So this is the real deal. It is $125. So I will just be lusting after this because that is quite a financial endeavor.
Yeah, thanks for keeping it real, Ashton. I appreciate that because I in my head I was thinking, if anybody clicked on this and saw how much it cost, they'd be like, "Gee." So
right. And then the second one is the Jughead Funko Pop, which is much more affordable at its normal $10.99.
True.
And he is so cute. This is the first time Funko has ever done Archie comic characters based off of their comic book design rather than their Riverdale adaptation.
Oh, okay. Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, classic Jughead.
Right, complete with Burger.
Complete with Burger, 100%. Actually, Ashton, what is the appeal of Jughead? What is the appeal to you of Jughead? What do you love so much about Jughead? Because this is an ongoing thing.
It is. Do you know what? I think he's super relatable. I think he is the most relatable character of anybody in the entire Archie cast. 1, he's always hungry. Can relate.
Okay,
2,
fair.
Sassy comments. Can relate. 3, he's simultaneously a really good, really loyal friend to Archie, but at the same time, does not have time for his ridiculous behavior.
Fair. That's also fair.
Yeah.
And every
cute.
There you go. I was actually at Johnny just threw in. She just likes the actor Cole Sprouse. Is that the guy who plays Jughead in Riverdale?
Cole Sprouse, but I also have a weird so when they rebooted the Archie universe, the modern Archie universe, it was Fiona Staples did the art, and the way she drew Jughead, I was like, do I have a crush on a comic book character? Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah, was that Chip Zdarsky and that Jughead one, the Chip Zdarsky Fiona Staples one?
No, she was on it with Mark Waid.
Oh, it's with Mark Waid. Okay, gotcha. Okay, interesting. All right, cool. I just wanted to hear it. I always loved Jughead. He's always been my favorite Archie character for reasons that I couldn't even describe. But I think you gave a lot of great reasons. Actually, he's the sassy one.
He is.
You
just said a thing that doesn't make sense. Shut
up. And he just kind of breezes in and out of everyone else's story. He's he's the connective tissue of the Archieverse. I kind of feel. Maybe is that a bold statement? I feel like that's a real thing.
That's a bold statement, but I think it's not inaccurate.
Okay, fair enough. There you go. That's the official word from us. So my pick this week is a book called Octobriana. Ooh. And I want to give you some background on this because I thought this was actually really cool. So first of all, the reason that I fell back in love with comics after not reading them for a couple of years was in my 20s, I kind of stumbled back upon them. And it was because they felt so for lack of a better term, counterculture. So wild and unfettered, you know what I mean? I went to school for film. And so they teach you very much the storytelling process in very rigid terms, you know what I mean? And so comics kind of introduced this world to me where it's no, you can tell any type of story you want. And also it doesn't have to be polite or politically correct or socially correct, or it can be very political in its tone. And it could be a political view that's not popular, but it's interesting. You know what I mean? I like those dynamics, and I don't feel like I necessarily get that from entertainment in general. And so Octobriana, it turns out, is actually this piece of 1970s, late 60s Russian propaganda
Ooh.
that like is actually not what you think. It wasn't for communist Russia. It was actually
Mhm.
against communist Russia. And so this book by Jim Rugg is a an homage to this very real thing that happened in real life in the 1960s, in which this character was kind of created as sort of like a beacon of hope for people that were going against the police state of Russia. And so she kind of like was this icon for like a very particular type of movement. And apparently she invoked something called the spirit of, she was the spirit of the October Revolution. And I don't know what that is. I'm not
Okay.
going to pretend that I know what that is, right? But I will look it up because I love stuff that's like a little bit of art history, comic history that has like roots in like, you know, social change and stuff like that. And it kind of proves how much the format progresses. And yes, I will also point out, thank you very much, Johnny, for throwing this up on the screen while I'm trying to make a point, a larger point. I'm a sucker for girls and guns. I don't know what it is. I like
Valid.
it. You know, I mean, just sometimes it works. And like, you know, I'm a simple man. And this is like, you know, you show me a girl and a gun, and I'm like, oh, I might give that book a look. So there you go, Octobriana. Yeah, it's just cool. I just think it's interesting. It's interesting to learn about more different parts of comic history that you don't know about, and it's also interesting to look at how
Mhm.
comics operate in other parts of the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like for a comic book to be a piece of propaganda literature, you know what I mean? It's actually
Mhm.
kind of interesting. So there you go. Big ticket items this week. Ashton, what do you have for Free Comic Book Summer? What's going on with Free Comic Book Summer? What can you tell people?
So there's 5 new titles hitting shops today. The big ones this week that everyone's kind of hype about is Best of 2000 AD from Rebellion, Usagi from IDW, and Brandon Sanderson has a book coming out from Vault that's called Dark One, and this is a sneak
Okay.
peek at the upcoming graphic novel series. And then also Donut the Destroyer from Scholastic, and Once Upon a Space Time from, I think that's Random House Kids. I'm not sure which imprint it is. I'm pretty sure it's Random House Kids. But it's from Jeffrey Brown, who did like the baby Luke Skywalker, baby Leia whole thing. So it's
Okay.
very cute in the same way.
All right, cool, cool. And actually, I'm goofed because like I don't have my list of books out this week, Johnny. So can you just throw them up for me so I can like read them in real time? Okay, big ticket items, other big ticket items. X-Men number 11 is dropping this week, and I'm definitely picking that up. That's tying into the Empire storyline that's going
Mhm.
off in the larger Marvel universe. What else we got? The Amazing Spider-Man number 47, more from Nick Spencer and friends. Some cool stuff going on there. I wonder if that's going to tie into the upcoming Venom storyline that's going to be dropping in October. We'll see. Also, Spawn 309. You know, Todd McFarlane's passed the big 300th issue, and now he's
Mhm.
hanging out with Ken Lashley, who's been on the show more than a few times. He's been on PREVIEWSworld more than a few times. So definitely check that out. I want to see Spawn drawn by Ken Lashley. Why the heck not? Chew number 2. This is the revival of the Chew franchise. It was very popular a
Mhm.
few years ago, and it's got a female lead, from my understanding. And hopefully, I'm
Ooh.
right about that because I just blurted that out without thinking. What else we got? Lock and Key in Pale Battalions Go number 1. New side story for Lock and Key universe. So definitely check that
Mm.
out. Something to sate you while the TV show revs back up. Mega Man Fully Charged with these really gorgeous covers.
Wow.
Yeah, there's like a collection of really nice covers. They're
Wow.
super like just colorful and like just jump out at you. But
Yeah.
that's the new Boom Studios' new approach to the Mega Man franchise. So definitely check that out. What else we got? The Boys, Dear Becky. And actually, I want to point this out. I'm going to have an interview with Derek Robertson very soon where he's going to break
Ooh.
down his cover for The Boys, Dear Becky. So definitely keep an eye on that on PREVIEWSworld.com. So that's going to be a lot of fun. What else we got? They Called Us Enemy, the expanded edition hardcover. If you've missed this very important book by George
Mhm.
Takei and friends, definitely check this out. And actually, here's another opportunity to check it out because it's coming back from IDW, an expanded edition, which I am sure will have a bunch of cool supplemental materials about the Japanese concentration camps in California. So, which that story is based off of. And then finally, we also have the Wonder Woman Pop 1984 vinyl figure. Why can't I say 1984? 1984 vinyl
Words are
figure.
hard.
Words are hard. Words are hard. And like, yeah, I kind of suspect this was coming out with the understanding that the movie would have already been out by now.
Oh, whoops.
But you know, COVID had other plans. But the pop vinyl, it looks like it's spoiler free for Wonder Woman 1984 is in comic shops now. And also, I want to say, screw you guys. Not you, Ashton,
Any
but
context to that, or
but
just
the handful of people that gave me hell about spelling Wonder Woman's mother's name. So Ashton, I asked you
Oh,
this yesterday.
yes.
I asked you this yesterday. I'm going to ask you again, just for the record.
Mhm.
Hippoltya. How do you say that?
I would say Hippolyta.
Hippolyta. Okay, so you actually are on the same plane as the TV show Lovecraft Country, because there's a character on that show
Uh-oh.
who has the name Hippolyta, we'll say, right?
Okay.
And one of the actors in the show called her exactly that. But I've also had people tell me that it is Hippolyta. And I'll be honest, I used to say Hippolya, which sounds like Chipotle in in retrospect. And in
Yikes.
retrospect, I know it's dumb. I'm like, it's just that that's what I heard in my head, and I would just kind of
Sure.
like keep moving. I'm not an expert on Greek mythology. What the hell do I know? So anyway, Hippolyta or Hippolyta. I mean,
Yeah.
you
I
guys, if
saw
you
that you
know,
posted that on
mhm,
Previews World, and then everyone got really angry for some
yeah,
reason.
yeah. I mean, some people were trying to be helpful, but some people were just like, "Well, you idiot."
Right. I was like, oh God, all right.
Are there any characters actually in the comments? Are there characters whose names you have completely and totally flubbed? I remember when I was a kid, Psylocke from the X-Men. I used to call her Pasloki. I don't know why. That is
Oh, okay. I
that's
mean,
the
yes. That.
sure. Why not? I mean, you don't have to comfort me on this, Ashton. I was being an idiot.
You know,
I know
like
I
half
was.
of the names in Dune, if they hadn't already made the movie and like decided that's how we were going to pronounce them,
Right.
I would have
Yeah.
been like, what does this say?
Right. Well, I know people for the longest. I thought it was funny because people for the longest time. This was kind of my low key payback for the Psylocke thing. People are always calling Hermione on the Harry Potter movies Hermione, but then I remember reading like a few years ago, like I think someone, I think it was J.K. Rowling said no, it's Hermione.
What?
And so yeah, like that just kind of made
No.
people's heads explode. And I had a brief moment where I was like, Psylocke. This is Psylocke all over again.
That's just, you
So
always hung on to that one.
yeah, because my friends made fun of me when I was a kid for saying that. Like I said it once, and I was like, I'm never saying it like that ever again. Forget it. You guys are jerks. Anyway, how about a little trailer real quick before we move on to Social Swamp, right?
Let's
Uh,
do it.
Speaking of pronouncing things incorrectly, I, for the love of me, can't tell you guys if this is Cross of Swords or Ten of Swords. I definitely know it's not X of Swords. So here's a trailer for the upcoming X-Men event, and you figure out the name.
I am blind, but I want to see. So let's see what the future holds, shall we? Judgment, finality, and irrevocable change. The fall of wands, a baptism of blood. The hanged man, a sacrifice on the pyre of change. The Eight of Cups, disillusionment, abandonment. The Ten of Swords, betrayal and loss.
And that is a perfect example of why you don't listen to your friends. Because I had, again, my friends telling me that it was Cross of Swords. And no, it just said in the trailer right there, it's Ten of Swords. So there you go. That's dropping in September from Marvel Comics. And you can definitely check that out. And yeah, there'll be a big buildup. I'm actually one of the jerks who told me that it was Cross of Swords. I'm planning to do an X-Men Roundtable podcast that we will that we'll release through Previews World, because I kind of feel like once this event's over, it'll be a great point for us to kind of discuss everything that's been leading up to this everything that's been happening on this new era, this Dawn of X era that we've been on thus far. Yeah, so I think it'll be pretty cool, and yeah, I'm gonna have a small collection of fellow X fans to sit there and talk Dawn of X with me, so that should be fun. What do we got in the comments, Johnny? What's going on? People going to make fun of me because I don't want to know if that is the case. The only good thing about Birds of Prey was the egg sandwich. That is a running joke online, actually. So there you go. Marie K, we all have secret crushes on comic book characters, so don't feel bad,
yes,
Ashton.
okay. Thank you.
No,
Marie
don't feel
K.
bad. Don't feel bad. D. Brad Gibson says, "What? It's not Hippolyte." Interesting.
Oh God! Now we
Hippolyte.
got 4 pronunciations for it. Now?
Yeah. Okay. It's just gonna get more and more depth. What else we got? Jeff Swab. They pronounce her name in the first Wonder Woman movie, so we should go with that pronunciation. I think that's fair. Yeah. Actually, what is that, Jeff? What is that pronunciation? Because I don't remember. I completely forgot. Julio says, I love what Hickman has done with X-Men. I wasn't really a fan until House / Powers. Okay, cool. Hey.
Wait, he brings up a good point. Hold on. It was House of X or Powers of 10. So why would this be Cross of Swords? Where would the cross come from?
You know, again, I was listening to my friends. I said 10 of Swords, and they corrected me like, no, it's Cross of Swords. And I was like,
why would it be that?
Okay, maybe it is then. I don't I just kind of excited. I need to just stop listening to people. I think that's the clear thing here. But now we're going to listen to some more people, so it's okay. It's time for Social Swamp, and Ashton's going to rescue us with some great comments from some of our viewers. Check this out.
Okay. Show where I have
don't mind me. I'm just drinking water here. Oh yeah, that's right. Every time we do the little bumper, like it just takes your audio out for some reason. It doesn't like banjo music.
It's gotta be the banjo music. Okay, so we asked you guys this week to convert your friends to the dark side. What trade paperback would you give to a non-comic book reader to make them a comic book fan?
Thank you for cleaning that up, by the way, Ashton, because I totally flubbed that question in the middle, but nobody called me out on it.
You're gay.
Yeah.
Okay, so to start off, Tom says This One Summer by Mariko and Jillian Tamaki, hands down. Okay.
Okay, nice.
I'm not familiar with that one, so maybe someone can recommend it to me. I guess he just did. Clint said, I turned my old humanities teacher onto comic books with Mouse. She thought comics were dumb until I submitted multiple pages from that book into my final report. My high school humanities report was about the importance of comic book subculture and the effects it has on mainstream.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
Shout out to Clint. Chris says, Saga or Lock and Key, 2 of the absolute best ever. Books with strong themes about family are ones everyone can relate to.
I think that's fair.
Jeremy says none. Oh, gosh. Okay. I don't talk comics with non-readers. I don't need those kind of conversations. Well, damn.
There's always going to be one, you guys.
Yikes. The Gray Goat. I love your handle, by the way.
There you go.
Transmetropolitan by Warren Ellis. Why?
Because and Derek Robertson. Sorry.
I didn't know who that was, and I didn't want to flub their tags. I'm just going to keep pushing.
All good.
Because as much as I love superhero books, comics don't always have to be about them and can reflect the world around us a little more with a little futurism, politics, gonzo journalism, and sci-fi thrown in for good measure. Yeah,
I love that. I actually have not read Transmetropolitan still. I know Warren Ellis is a lot of favor right now, but I keep telling myself I'm going to go back and reread those. So I'm with the Gray Goat. What else?
Comic Moss. Appreciate that. Says Huck by Mark Miller and Raphael Albuquerque. Nice. Why? Because it's a great plot with great twists, stunning art, no continuity, and has a great moral. Always do one good deed every day.
Nice. No, I actually, that's another one that I have not read. And again, I'm a huge Mark Miller fan, but I have not read Huck yet. And I need to correct that because apparently it's good. But what about you, Ashton? What are books that you can give more than one if you want, but like, what is a book that you would give to a non-reader to kind of make them understand that, like, no, comics are good and they're fun and you should enjoy them? Like, what would you do?
I think it might depend or vary, I guess I should say, depending on like what that particular person's interests are. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know that picking like one cure-all book would necessarily apply to everyone. That said, let me pick one cure-all book. Um, I think, personally, I think The Walking Dead, and I might be biased because that was the one that converted me, but I think The Walking Dead's a good starting place because one, it's a property that's been popularized in the mainstream, so everyone's already familiar with it and at least familiar with the plot.
Mhm.
Two, it's got enough action to like satiate maybe your action fans or your boys to stereotype. Sorry.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but then it kind of takes it that extra step and like unpacks our humanity and what those things mean. So if you want like action and all of that, it has that. But also if you want like character driven stories, it also satiates that need. So I think that's a good middle ground depending on the kind
Mhm.
of reader you are.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. No, I saw a lot of people saying that like depends on the person. And truthfully, that was my pitch when
Yeah.
I used to work in a comic book store. I would have people come in and say, "Hey, what's good?" And I'd be like, "Well, what are you into?" Like, and
Yeah.
I think that's because people tend to forget. And I don't want to blame superheroes for this because I don't think it's necessarily superheroes. That's just superheroes. But people tend to forget that comics are a medium. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like television, like movies, even within the superhero genre itself, there are genres within those genres. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so, therefore, if you gravitate towards something on the regular, then more than likely I would suggest for it. And I actually made a small stack here, right? So, for example, if you like stuff like Quentin Tarantino or like,
Mm-hmm.
70s exploitation, B movie stuff, maybe you want to try Aphrodisiac from Jim Rugg, who also did
Mm-hmm.
Octoberiana. And he tends to do a lot of stuff like that. So it's absolutely perfect. I actually gave an ex-girlfriend of mine, Day Tripper, years ago. And she absolutely loved it. And this is by Gabriel Ba and Fabio Moon. So
Mm-hmm.
this is like half of the old Umbrella Academy team. But like it's just really cool existential stuff. I would say if you're into what's that movie, The Life of Pi? Is that the
Yeah.
one with the was that the one with the kid who's in the boat with the lion?
Yeah, it's Dev
Yeah.
Patel.
Yeah, there you go. Then like maybe this might be up your alley. It's actually kind of cool because of that. If you like X-Files or any sort of like weird sci-fi stuff, I've been reading Saucer Country a lot lately.
Ooh.
And I absolutely love Saucer Country. And like two things I noticed about this book that came out years ago is first of all, it has a female lead. It has a female lead of color in it. But
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, she's actually gunning to become, and ultimately looks like she's going to become the president of the United States. And so what the story is about is just about how she experienced an alien abduction and her trying to keep it quiet
Mm-hmm.
during her campaign run. And so it kind of gets into all these weird conspiracy theories
Mm-hmm.
and like, elements as it goes along. If you like real life stuff, I've joked, I've learned more from original graphic novels about world history
Mm.
than I ever did in actual history class in high school. And like, Itchy F, which is a memoir of the Fukushima nuclear power plant.
Ooh.
This is a manga actually, and this is actually really cool. And it's actually interesting, kind of heartbreaking actually. I got plenty of them here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but Ghetto Brothers, like again, if you like stuff like New Jack City or the Warriors, that's probably more pure speed. If you're just a sports fan, I got the book about Pele. I don't even follow soccer.
Oh.
I don't even follow soccer that closely, but I just wanted to learn about Pele, so I read about him. You know what I mean? And if you like superheroes, you don't always have to do DC Marvel. Like this is a cool one from
Yeah.
Paul Pope, and it's called Battling Boy. And it's actually, I would say, if you have someone who's like maybe about like 10, 11, 12, something like that,
Mhm.
that might be perfect for them. So yeah, I think that it's important to remember that you know, comics are a medium, it's a format, and it's a vessel to tell any type of story. And like we mentioned earlier, you can do anything with it. I think that's
Mhm.
the awesome thing about it. And if you don't believe me, maybe you should go to Free Comic Book Summer this weekend and see what all the offerings are floating around. Does that sound about
True.
right?
I think so. I
Yeah.
actually like the Brandon Sanderson one caught my eye.
Yeah.
So I might try and get my hands on that. It's basically about this guy that's like discovers that he's going to become like a feared and infamous world killer in a
Hmm.
different parallel universe. And he tries everything he can to fight against making that happen, but then eventually gives into it and fulfills this destiny of being like this destructor.
Hmm.
But why? Like, there's like,
Hmm.
what is the why? Like, why are you like going around Thanosing the universe? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
so I'm interested.
No, absolutely. And I like that idea of like, like what? It's basically saying, do you control your destiny? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and that concept as a whole, like I think that's also pretty interesting. And it always makes for good sci-fi, good superhero stuff, any genre stuff. So yeah, keep the comments going with the suggestions. Drop them in the video below.
Yeah.
What would you give to a new comic book reader? Like, and pinpoint that, like why. I might actually, when these things go really well in the comments, I tend to be like, I'll make an article about it. Why not? So maybe I'll make an article about this, like just to kind of share more of these than the 6 that we showed you guys. Ashton, what is going on with this poll this week? Like, what is this thing that you have forced onto all of us?
Why has this gotten so much judgment? I don't understand.
Well, first of all, what was the idea behind this week's poll?
Okay, so one of the books that's out this week is from Scholastic Graphics. It's called Donut the Destroyer.
Okay.
And she is a young girl, 13. Don't quote me on that. It's like somewhere in that 10 to 13 range. And she's like starting superhero school and she wants to be a good guy. Her parents are like infamous villains. So it's kind of got like some Sky High vibes going on.
Okay. All right.
And I just was like, I've been trying to make the polls related to Free Comic Book Day in some way. And I was like, Donut the Destroyer is a hilarious name. Like, that's amazing. So then I was like, well, there's got to be other food superheroes. So at first I was going to like ask people to come up with their own. But then I was like, no, what ridiculousness already exists?
Mm-hmm.
So a quick Google of food-based superheroes turned up ice cream.
Wow.
And X-Men, whose big power is that he can turn into ice cream.
So you were in the mood for ice cream when you made this poll. Is that what you're telling us?
Maybe.
Yes. What is the one on the left doing? Because from my vantage point, it looks very suspect.
Ice cream, the guy that's melting into ice cream, he's trying to go in that window.
Oh, okay. So he's turning into ice cream to go through the window.
Yeah.
That is an awful superpower, but okay. Johnny, you wanna weigh in on this?
Yeah, I have so many questions about what's going on here.
Okay, great. I'm ready.
Production manager Johnny Rose, everybody, for those of you who aren't familiar with the show.
So forgive me if I'm looking off the screen because I'm looking at my second monitor here. But like ice cream, first of all, it just sounds like he's going to like poke you in the eye and make you scream.
Right.
Like just by the spelling of his name. If he's actually based on ice cream, so what? He goes out on a hot day and he just melts.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
No, he turns into ice cream. He's not always ice cream.
See, I've never heard of this character. So is he like in a refrigerated housing mech or something? Like we were talking about the Kool-Aid Man thing, where it's like that keeps him from like moving around, or is he more like Venom? Like is like the ice cream a symbiote that's attached to it?
I don't know. Like honestly, this to me looks like a really bad like sidekick to Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze, right? Yeah,
that's
fair.
Apparently, he was very short-lived because he was always getting bullied by the other X-Men for having a crappy power.
I don't remember this character at all. I'm gonna have to bring this up to one of my X-Men, my fans who are more versed in X-Men than I am.
I mean, who was his arch nemesis? The Tootsie Pop Owl? He just wanted to see how many licks it took to get to the center of his like superpower.
It's obviously 3, and then a giant crunch.
And then a crunch, yes. But then if you go to Condiment King, I can't tell. I mean, he looks like a supervillain, but
he is.
What's the terrible thing here about him? Like honestly, it looks like some guy that you could just hire to work at like the Orioles baseball game to like go around.
He shoots condiments at you out of his bazooka. Don't you see that he's got ketchup, mustard, and a suspicious green substance on his belt?
Oh, I see that, but like how threatening is that? I mean, it's basically.
Do you know what? Someone like if you scroll up, maybe Johnny, somebody was like they went into this whole thing about like the specific condiments. This guy.
And if he can shoot some buffalo sauce into your eyes, that's game over.
I mean, that's fair.
Stan the Movie Man, ice cream looks like a sweet villain. I see what you did there. Everyone knows mustard stains instantly, and mayo always leaves a greasy mark, so Condiment King is likely more evil.
Huh. Okay. I mean, I can see Condiment King being more annoying than Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
Or Ice Cream Man.
Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream.
For that reason, I think I'm going to have to go with the Condiment King. So it looks like we have...
Oh!
Ice cream is at 31.9%, and Condiment King's leading with 68.1%.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
1 hour left in voting as of the airing of this.
Okay. So, yeah, jump on Twitter, Facebook, right? And go ahead and vote. So maybe you can change the tide for old Condiment Lad, or whatever the hell his name is.
Condiment Lad.
even bother to remember what the name was. It's like, this is ridiculous. What is going on here? But that's
Sir,
okay. That's
he
why we
is the Condiment King, and you will refer to him
Condiment
as Your
King.
Highness.
There you go. Not to be
Your Royal Highness.
not to be confused with the guy on the Trojan condoms.
Well, he works with Abe
packet.
Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago.
Okay.
From,
Wait a minute. Oh, is that the? Oh,
I'm
okay.
lost.
It's a reference to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I can't stop thinking about Moist Lad now that you've said condiment.
Oh, Jesus. Let's not bring that back up. That's as a ghost of game nights past. I feel like game night should be like Vegas. Like what happens on game night stays on game night. Because
Right.
there's the things we say under the pressure of that ticking clock.
Are not okay.
And I'm blaming the ticking clock on that because like
100%.
we're all horrible people, so you can't put us under pressure to answer like that. It's just gonna go wall. It's just gonna go like left so bad. Anyway, all right. So I guess we don't have a comic shop shout out this week, which is unfortunate. Like we kind of goofed on that. Sorry, guys. So we're gonna just leave. But I do want to remind people to tune in. We just talked about game night. Tune in on Tuesdays at 4 p.m., 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch out Previous World Game Night. We do a game of Quiplash, and we try to fill in the blanks. And when we do fill in the blanks, you know, what comes out isn't always great, but it is hilarious. That's for damn sure. And also, I want to point out that Mia's going to be back. She's got an interview that I know she's really excited about with Sean Simon. He is the artist on the current book, Umbrella Academy book that focuses on Klaus, and he's also the artist on Killjoys with Gerard Way, who created the Umbrella Academy. So she is, of course, a big Umbrella Academy fan, and she's going to talk a lot and ask him a lot of questions about that Umbrella Academy run that he's doing right now. Am I forgetting anything else, Ashton?
Nope.
Okay. All right. That works. There you go. I love it. I love the pregnant pause.
Well, I was thinking about it. It felt like
Okay, I appreciate it. Because you could have just faked it. I mean, you could have just faked it, but you actually give some consideration. I appreciate the consideration. That's all I'm saying. That's it for Previous World Weekly, guys. We'll see you again. Remember, tune in next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
And we will see you at the spinner rack. Catch you later.